Okay, so Nick Houston here for Gotham Sound and Communications TV, or whatever we're calling it, not NAB and NAB 2020. So right now, here in our New York studio, and we are talking to Caleb from Bubblebee. Hey, Caleb.
Hey Nick, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
Yeah, I'm excellent, thanks. Really good.
Good. Where in the world are you right now?
So I'm in Vienna, in Austria,
Mm-hmm.
um, in my flat, um, enjoying the springtime from the inside.
Yeah.
Well, it's evening now, but it's fairly good weather at the moment. So we got a little balcony that we go and chill out on for breakfast, which is nice.
Nice. What time is it there?
9 p.m.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, 3 o'clock here Eastern time in New York City. So you're ahead of us.
Yeah, 6 hours, I think.
Mm-hmm. So this year, obviously, we're all stuck inside. But what is Bubblebee up to?
Trying to get money back for our flights. um, yeah, no, we're applying the time creatively. So we've been very busy looking at new possibilities and also taking in the current situation and trying to figure out how we can help production teams do their jobs easier. That's the goal, really. So, yeah. Just before this, we released, actually, it was it February or March? March, just the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
March. We released 5 new lav concealers to expand our lav concealer range. And those are for the Countryman B3, B6, and then the Sennheiser MKE1, ME2, and the ME2-2. So we cover the G3 and G4 range of wireless mics now as well.
Mm-hmm. And for people that aren't familiar with the Bubblebee concealers, what makes your concealers unique and effective?
Sure. So we thought a lot about it for a long time. I think it took Paul 3 years to finally come up with the final product. And that's because he was battling with materials. The Bubblebee concealers go on here. They're all made of a soft organic rubber. So they bend, but they still hold their shape. And they're all molded 100% to the inside, on the inside, to the capsule of each microphone that they're dedicated to. The reason they're molded perfectly to the mic is so that they hold the mic in the same place every time. And they allow the same amount of space around the capsule. The soft rubber material means you don't transmit as many of the vibrations to the capsule. Rubber absorbs that. And also, in terms of resonance, I think rubber won't be so resonant in the high frequencies as maybe some. Excuse me, I think that's the older.
Is that the cell phone?
Could be, yeah. There's some of the harder materials out there. So.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And so you said that you've got one for the ME2 now. That's the Sennheiser ME2 that has the new windscreen built, and you want to show us what
sure.
that looks like?
That one was quite difficult because this is the one with a windscreen that you can't take off. So it's the biggest lav concealer we've ever done, but it's still very small in terms of the height. I don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here, let me do a close up
around the capsule pretty perfectly. I'll pop that in. So that's what it looks like mounted.
Aha. Yeah, that is one of the trickier lavs to hide because of that built-in windscreen. So having something purpose-built is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. And we had to actually, I mean, everything about this is purpose-built for this. We had to go so far as to, because our concealers come with clips and fabric guards.
Mm-hmm.
So all the regular size concealers have a little fabric guard which goes in the front, a wire fabric guard, and a little clip which you can use in the bottom of the concealer, mounted in 2 holes in the back or in the front, respectively. And that means you can either clip the concealer to the inside hem of a shirt. Well, I'm touching my mounted mic there. You can clip it to the inside seam of a shirt or to a bra or to any seam that's handy to clip to, or you can use our lav concealer tape to affix that. And then the lav concealer for the ME22 is so big that we had to create new fabric guards as well. So there's a much bigger one over here, which I'll fit in there. And that's what it looks like with the fabric guard.
Got it.
And that just lifts the fabric off the top of the rubber. And having two materials, i.e. metal and rubber, means the metal won't transfer any of the friction through the rubber material to the capsule. Two different materials stops that dead. And then we've also got a different clothing clip. So it's got to be a little bit stronger and a little bit wider in design. And that goes on the bottom. And that allows you to clip it onto the seam.
Got it.
And then the other option, of course, is the lav concealer tape. So that comes in a roll of 120. Comes off the roll, and it's also made to fit. So if you look at the shape of the tape, it fits. I'll take the clip off again. It fits exactly into the recess at the top, so nothing contacts the capsule, and it keeps the capsule in free space, so to speak. Like that.
And then you can just tape it onto clothing or whatever part you want.
Paper comes off, and that would tape onto skin or anything else, and it's really strong, hypoallergenic, double-sided tape. So, yeah. Cool.
And so lav concealers are not the only thing that you guys do. I mean, you're doing a bunch of things for wind protection and among other things. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're up to in those other areas?
Yeah, sure. So we started actually doing wind protection, and probably we're most well known for the little wind bubbles. That were the first product that we came up with, and it's a slightly new design on lavalier wind protection. In that on the inside there's a pretty strong little basket that creates a bubble of dead air around the capsule. And that's what's still, I think, fairly unique in the market for these, is that you can fit the microphone in and know that there's going to be a space around the mic that is very hard to kind of crush. Because as soon as you put any surface or material right on the capsule, you change the frequency response quite drastically. So, and also the wind protection goes down quite a lot as well.
Got it. So if there's actually something touching the capsule itself, it makes it more susceptible to wind. Yes.
Any surface area. I mean, wind has no noise, so it's moving particles of air from point A to point B, and they make a noise when they hit a surface area. So it's friction, and if you buffer the wind and put the mic right up against that buffer, you're going to get a lot of that friction ambient noise coming into the mic anyway. So the more space you can create between the buffer and the mic, the better for wind protection, ideally.
Got it. And you guys are not only offering wind protection for the for lavaliers, and you've got multiple sizes, and that's probably your bigger one that you were showing. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the bigger one. So we've got 6 colors and 4 sizes. That's a little brown one. That's the size 1. This one is the size 3. There's a second one in the middle, which is kind of for your MKE2s and DPA 4060s, 4071s. And then there's a size 4, which will fit your larger mics up to, I think, around the 10 millimeter diameter. So that'll fit your MKE22s. Sorry, your ME22s. And some of the more esoteric mics available on the market now. So I know that long Uzis and clippies and that kind of stuff with larger capsules that you need a slightly larger wind bubble for. So.
And you also do something similar for larger microphones, shotguns, and I see something in the background that I imagine is yours.
Yeah, that's the 416. So yeah, we've got Wind Killer, and that was the second product we developed, and that is a shotgun solution, wind protection. It's slip-on. So the way it's created is to, again, create as much space as possible around the capsule, and that is by having a really open foam on the inside. This rubber base, which holds firmly to the microphone to keep it firmly in place, and also seals off kind of a space on the inside of the Wind Killer. And then there's two lengths of fur, this being the short-haired Wind Killer, and there's a long-haired one as well. And just a note on our fur, we spent a lot of time sourcing and getting made exactly the right fur that we wanted. And we don't, it's multi-pile. So we have many different lengths of fur in that pile. And that is another idea that Paul came up with about slowing the wind down gradually so as not to create another surface area for the wind to buffer. So yeah, the short fur is that one, and I've got some long fur right over here, and that actually leads me on to another product that developed kind of going further than the Wind Killer. It's very hard to see in the dark. I hope you guys can see it all right. And that was the spacer kit and the spacer bubble. And this is the long fur, so you can see it's got a lot more body to it. And the Wind Killer is a one-piece solution, so you get either the short hair or the long-haired Wind Killer, and it comes in 5 different sizes, from extra small to extra large, and it comes with 2 different sized bases. So this is for a 19 millimeter diameter mic. And then the Sennheiser MKH 50 and 40 with the 21, 22 millimeter. We have a solution for that as well. It's just called the big bass, the big mount. And I think this is the big mount, actually. You can see that hole's a bit bigger. So this is what developed after that, and this is called the spacer bubble. And that was developed because on documentary work and reality work, that kind of fast-moving, continual changing environment, from indoors to outdoors and back, and that kind of stuff. Sometimes the production doesn't have time to stop, so that you can maybe, if you don't have time to swap booms, switch things up, or take your basket off if you've been in a hurricane and you want to go indoors. And you don't need... the more bulk you have around the mic, like I said before, the more frequencies you lose. In normally the top end, it kind of tails off. And inside, indoors, you don't need to lose those frequencies. So the idea was kind of, wouldn't it be cool if you had a solution that allowed you to keep that frequency response, the more natural frequency response of the mic indoors? And so that's when this was designed. And this is... the same open mesh on the inside, and then the mesh covering. And that's good for light winds and boom swinging. So if you have this on your boom, you won't pick up as much boom swinging at all. Noise.
So more acoustically transparent without the fur on it, but then the fur providing more wind protection.
Sure. And the ability to change between those two situations within a few seconds. So, I mean, this is really transparent. We've got, there's a video on our YouTube channel with Bull in the Desert, and we tested the transparency of this, and yeah, it's incredibly transparent. And to add the fur on, you just slip that over the top. It's a lot easier when there's a mic in it. And then there's a little drawstring on the back. And the drawstring pulls tight to hold that rubber edge of the fur around the back. You need to make sure, just a note, you need to make sure that's pulled right up to get the best performance. And then also some people take this little loop and fasten it around one of the tightening knobs on the suspension.
Just to make sure that it's really tight.
To make sure it's not flapping around.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want anything flapping around up there.
Yeah, that's true.
And and this is actually with the long fur, and you can choose either the short fur or the long fur when you buy this. So you'll see this is the short fur one, and that's the long fur one. So you can choose either the short fur or the long fur. The spacer bubble comes with just the short fur cover, and we also have a spacer kit, which comes with the base, the short fur, and additionally a long fur cover.
Got it.
And they all come neatly packed in one of our bags, mesh bags. And actually, funny anecdote, I've seen some people use the bag over the top of the long fur in rain and hurricanes. And, when you're gung-ho against the wind. But it's very light, it's very small, it's washable, it packs up small. If you're traveling and you need to travel light, and you need something that's pretty much 80 to 90% as effective as a blimp. Look, it's scientifically impossible for that to be as effective to the point as a big blimp around a mic with long fur, creating space around it as well, because it's moved the buffer away from the mic. But it's really good.
Cool. And so far we've talked about support for microphones for lavaliers and for shotguns and microphones that are going to be on the end of the boom. But there's another thing that you guys do, and I think I see it. I think I see it coming out of your left ear. Is that right?
I've got a stereo on. Actually.
You got a stereo. I see the one in your left ear.
It's because I got shorter hair.
Yeah. Well, I don't see the mic itself. I saw the loop in the back. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on there.
Yeah, sure. So last year, or end of the 2018, I think, we delved into the world of IFB monitors. So interruptible foldback ear monitors. And let me just grab one.
And as you're moving around, we can kind of see that it's very hard to see anything in your ear right now, particularly on this webcam.
Yeah, sorry. The product's called the Sidekick. And it's a very invisible, very comfortable wired solution, which sounds great and has great range because you can plug it into a wireless IFB receiver and get really good high quality, high definition sound. And that's what it looks like.
Boy, that is itty bitty.
That's itty bitty, yeah. So this is it's cool. We get really geeky about this thing. There's Kevlar reinforced cable, so it's really, really strong. It's not going to break. You've got this little loop on the end here, and there's either a curly cable or a straight cable option, so you can have it strain relief if you want. And that normally sits here around the ear, so it helps if you've got something to tuck it under if you need it to be invisible. I did a rush job of fitting this, and I just clipped it to the back of my collar over there. So yeah, and it's a really high impedance little driver, and the magic of this is that the whole driver fits inside your ear canal. And that you can see is just the loop coming down the front of my ear. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah.
I really can't see it all that well. That's for sure. I think I see it. It's very difficult. It looks like maybe you had.
Maybe I'll take it out, and you can.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Now it's visible.
So that's now I've got you just in the right ear. But yeah, we've got a stereo that I'm wearing, and we've got a mono version, and that gives you whatever options you want because you can get a mono left or mono right as well. And then very interesting way of changing the ambient sound around you is, I'm just going to pop this back in. There you
Yeah,
go.
make sure you fix your hair. That's important.
Yeah. Very easy way of changing the ambience around you is using different ear tips. So this little silicon ear tip on the end here is, you can take that off, but you'll see there's holes in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because this is the most transparent ear tip. So it clicks off and then clips back on. And that means you can hear your environment like normal, pretty much. You can have a conversation if there's any other contributors next to you. If you're busy interviewing someone and you need a link with the producer or the director, and you're having a chat with someone, it won't get in the way of that sound sounding normal, which is very important, especially if you're just wearing one, because I get dizzy if I block one ear after a few minutes, 20 minutes, maybe 30. I can't last longer than that. And I don't like my ears being blocked anyway, so I normally wear the open ones if I'm monitoring anything. If the environment is a little noisier, then you can swap that up for another ear tip, which is called the cowbell. This one's called the satellite dish. This is the cowbell. And the cowbell attenuates, anything between 5 and 7 dB of your surroundings. And then I think there's one step up from that, which is the Christmas tree. And that's what the Christmas tree looks like. Oop, fell off. There you go. And the Christmas tree, when that clips on, that attenuates sort of, I think, between 9 and 10 dB of your surroundings. Now, when I say attenuates your surroundings, you've got to think about that from a separation point of view, because if you separate the audio inside your ear from the audio outside your ear, the effect is that you get more audio inside your ear. Effectively, perceptively, it's louder.
Yeah, you don't have to turn up the IFB as loud to be able to hear it in proportion to the ambience.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a very cool little IFB. It works with all the major IFB receivers. Everything from even the little context and stuff. I've seen some guys end up to the Lectrosonics and the Saxcoms and the whatever you want, WoozyCom, which we use. And then another thing that I've seen is some people actually like to have two feeds, one between the sound team, and if there is a team, if you're in that situation, and one with the production director side of things. And in that sense, you can still wear your cans over the top of the ambient ear tips. So that's really cool.
So have you been seeing this mostly in use on film sets, or have you been seeing it in on-air talent, or how are you seeing that used?
So last year it got picked up by quite a few film sets. Primarily it belongs in TV studios and for E&G work. A lot of sports, ringside stuff. It's getting used there. It's getting used by teams on film sets to stay in the loop with what's going on. And more recently, it's been picked up and used by quite a number of people in queuing for the actors. So, for example, a telephone call, where you need to act against a telephone call, but you can't have any audible audio that might bleed into mics and stuff like that. That's really good for the actor, and it makes it more natural because they're actually on the phone, or perceptively. And then, queuing songs, music for dances, action, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Ensemble covers. So.
Well, fantastic. And that's basically the whole line right now, right?
Almost.
What do we got? What did I miss?
You forgot some more fur.
Oh, more fur. Oh, that's right. The piece of fur?
Yeah.
I love a piece of fur. Okay.
Yeah, we use it for all sorts of things. So the piece of fur is a really nice way to dumb down a bit of clothing noise and stuff like that. And again, this uses the same fur that we've sourced for all of our other products. It's multi-pile. It's very soft, and it's on a very open back material. So again, we try and keep the natural sound of the mic sounding as natural as possible in the situation. I've used this on my little mount here. Sorry, I touched touched it again, because I've got a thick button at the top. So my mic is sitting just in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
You
yeah.
might be able to see it.
Yeah.
And I've got a thick button on the top, and it's adding some weight to the material, which is rubbing against my sternum. So what I did was I put a little piece of fur just underneath it. So that's stopping the shirt from rubbing on my neck when I turn my head and all that kind of stuff. So in that sense, it's a really nice way to dumb down clothing noise if there is any. Between layers of fabrics, it helps. And on any tight areas where there's pressure between the fabrics and the skin or hair, in a hairy chest situation, if you're hiding mics. And I know this is something that's in a lot, receiving a lot of scrutiny at the moment is personal mics for talent. But I think it's going to be very difficult for that kind of miking technique to go away 100%. Especially when you think about documentaries and reality TV, unless those kind of productions just don't happen anymore, which I think that's a massive industry, and I think will be difficult to just stop outright. But who knows?
Yeah, well, we'll see, right? The coming weeks and months and however long this is going to last will be very, very interesting to see how it unfolds.
Yeah. We've been looking into how we clean our products, and we just released a couple of videos that I think you guys shared as well on cleaning the lav concealer and our fur products as well, because you can wash them, and that helps big time. So
I know about those, but I haven't seen them. Just a brief rundown. Is it something you use like soap and water, or do you?
Yeah, basically soap and water. Same as the hands. Wash your hands with soap and water. If you can use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on the lav concealers, I wouldn't dunk them in it and leave them overnight because it's organic rubber. But if you use a little alcohol wipe, it's not a problem because it evaporates very quickly. But yeah, soap and water is the best way, and just wash them for a good few seconds and get the soap and water in everywhere, and then rinse them off, and you're fine.
Okay.
And with the wind killers and the wind bubbles and spacer bubbles, the fur and stuff, they're washable. Also, use a little bit of soap or shampoo, and then just let them dry. And if you've got a hairdryer to hand, they dry quicker.
And do you, do you comb them and style them as you're? Is that better?
Yeah, side parting to the left.
To the left, always to the left.
We always comb them just so when you wash them, if you want it to be really, really good as new. And I think this one, where's it gone? I washed this one most recently. This one. So it's still shiny. It's still very fine fur, and I washed it, rinsed it, and then squeezed it out, not twisting it though, just squeezing it, and then comb the last water drops out of it when it's wet. Leave it to dry, comb it again when it's dry, and you're sorted.
Okay. That is interesting. And then any benefit to using conditioner?
Smells better. It's got to smell better.
There you go.
Yep.
Not bad. All right. So that's an appealing thing for talent as well. If you don't have this funky old boom flying above your head.
Yeah, definitely.
It smells like lavender.
The one thing we spoke about with or have spoken about a lot with the lav concealer is that it's a very nice. Once the mic is packed, once it's in its package, you can leave the tape paper. That's an old one. You can leave the tape paper on. You can hand that to talent or put it down, having washed your hands or wearing gloves, and they can pick it up, and you can instruct them how to mic themselves with that package. It's very difficult to. It's a little bit easier to hold. It's easier to peel this tape back because it's got a little tab, and if you tell them where to place it, they can generally put it there themselves. I'm sure there'll be a few who will disagree, and not actors or talent who will choose not to play ball. But I think it's a nice way of giving someone a mic and saying, "Would you please, I'm not going to come too near you. I'm not going to touch you too much. If you wouldn't mind just running the cable down there and putting the mic there. Yeah.
So with that, you can set it up and make it as simple as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help the high pressure situations, but I think there has to be some give and take on all sides.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So while we're getting close to the end, there was a question that looks like was answered in the comments by Bubblebee, by your
Yeah.
team member. But just to throw it out there, Alan asked about which range of frequencies are affected most when you put the fur on the spacer. Do you have a sense of what that is?
Yeah, sure. It would probably be the intelligibility stuff, the consonants, so something from about 6K up.
Mm-hmm.
That's when
There
it
you go.
starts to tail off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah. Look, I mean, we use as transparent materials as possible. The backing material on the fur is, again, a very transparent material. You can turn them inside out and see. So we use a very open material in the front because most of the pressure that you want the pressure difference with a directional mic. So you're going to get that through the front of the interference tube because that's where you're aiming the shotgun mic generally. And this is also a very open material. You can actually see the fur through there. And then, yeah, like I said, multi-pile fur that slows the wind down gradually. It doesn't create another buffeting surface. So, I mean, in terms of the materials, we've used the highest quality, highest grade materials possible. And yeah, when you take the long fur outside, you could probably get away with 20 to 25 miles per hour winds. We've tested it in the Grand Canyon before doing that, which 20 miles an hour, it's strong wind.
Yeah. Yep. That is not something you want to be outside in consistently.
Yeah.
So in terms of, and Alan said, great, 6K and up. So in terms of what you guys are doing now and what's next for you, is there anything that you can share?
We're making some small developments in the Sidekick range, which we can't speak about right now, and they'll probably be delayed a little bit. But later half of the year, we'll launch those. One last thing I wanted to say was the launch of the new. So we've got, I think of it as 3 different lav concealer sizes. We've got the mini ones, which we call the tiny, and that's for the DPA 6060, the Sennheiser MK1, and the B6 from Countryman. Then we've got the regular sized ones, and that's for the 4060, 4071, MKE2, Countryman B3, that size, and then we've got the jumbo.
Yeah.
For the regular range, we now have a new. Where is it? There it is. We now have a new fabric guard as well, and that will come as standard with these mic lav concealers as they go out, and it's called the Fabric Guard Extreme. And so instead of just going up on the top of front, it reaches back around the capsule and lifts the fabric off the middle of the concealer as well. So that's something
protecting the capsule and the top of the concealer.
Yeah, so that lifts everything off the rubber. So it's a little more extreme. It depends on where you're going to hide it and as to how visible it is. But if you do need a bit of extreme help, that'll do it. And that'll from now and from the next few weeks, that'll start filtering out and coming with the concealers. Cool. And also it'll be available in the spares sets, so you'll be able to get hold of it that way.
Fantastic. So I guess just to close it out, I mean, you told me earlier before, you got colors too.
We got CK green. We got Gotham green.
I love it. Yeah, that is, check out the colors right there.
Yeah, that's the spacer. So if you're indoors and you're using a green screen, you can use a green. You just have to ask for it with, so if anyone needs it, they need to contact you and just say, we'd like that in chroma key green, please.
Okay, got it. Yeah. That is good to know about. And so I guess just to wrap it up, you told me earlier that everybody in the Bubblebee family is safe. You guys are still in business and, but just keeping it indoors.
We're hanging on. we're all working from our homes, except we're in the warehouse. The people, the warehouse manager and assistant, they actually are housemates. So for them to go into the warehouse is it's pretty cool because they live together. So 5 minutes from the warehouse, so that's great. Yeah, everything's still there. We're still working. We're still doing what we can to do what we can. Yeah.
Good.
And good to see you guys are all right as well, and everyone out there just needs to hold on a little longer, I think, and stay safe, and we'll pull through this.
Yeah, well, I think that your sentiment echoes kind of everybody's. It's just, stay safe, and we're all thinking about everybody else and hoping and wishing that, nobody gets sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Caleb. Well, any closing thoughts besides that?
Have a windy day.
All right. Have a windy day. Everybody online, thank you so much for watching. And Caleb, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And watch more of our videos on our archives at gothamsound.tv. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest news. You can see it there, or you can send ideas or questions to info@gothamsound.com. Take care.
See you later.